Okay, the meeting of the WSESD will come to order. This meeting is a hybrid meeting, which means that some or all of the public body is meeting remotely. While we will strive to provide means for everyone attending remotely to participate in the public comment period, there may be technical difficulties or reasons that otherwise prevent or interrupt public participation. If a member of the public or of the public body has technical difficulties accessing the meeting remotely, please alert us by email. In the event of a technical difficulty that cannot be resolved, we may continue the meeting if necessary to time and place certain. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting that are not unanimous will be done by roll call vote. I need to rearrange a little bit of the agenda, so I need to add an executive session as soon as we are done this preliminary business. The board will go into executive session, and I will read that out when we do. And there is an executive session at the end of the agenda. It should have indicated that that will be at 7 o'clock. And we will also have a third executive session that will be inserted in there. And Deborah.
I would like to amend the agenda to add a motion later in the evening. As well, I'd like to just announce that F35 school animal policy is on hold until April 25, and I will explain later in the evening why. Thank you.
Sean.
Yeah, I noticed that the fiscal report is number 8, right at the bottom of the agenda. And I was wondering if we could move that up to right when we approve the warrants.
We can certainly do that. I will make note that since we have 2 executive sessions that we were not anticipating when the meeting was warned, this is going to be we are going to make every attempt to make this a very efficient meeting and try to get through everything as efficiently as possible. But you were asking to put the fiscal report.
Yeah, the finance committee just met, and we have a specific motion that we'd like to make for the board to consider. And if we need help in any way, Frank could be available, and then that would free Frank up so he could retire a little earlier than 10 o'clock.
Okay. So I will ask if there is a motion to for a specific finding that general premature knowledge will put the public or a party involved at a disadvantage. Premature public knowledge. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Deborah. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Thank you, Tim. All those in favor of that finding, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And are there any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so we have that finding. Is there a motion to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313A1D grievances other than tax grievances?
So moved.
Thank you, Lana. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Deborah. All those in favor of going into executive session as indicated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, we are in executive session at 6:07, and I'm not sure how long this will take, but everyone else will go into the waiting room.
Excuse me, we have middle school students
Yes,
here
we need to
too.
do this first.
Okay.
But no, but we do know that they will. Yeah.
Okay.
This wasn't unplanned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm aware and I'm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. So returning from suspended executive session at 6:55. We will return to that after some of the other board business. And the first thing that we will do is the administrative report. So, and my apologies and thank you to the students who have been waiting.
Excited to hear from them. So tonight we're going to hear from
student leadership teams at Dummerston Elementary School, Putney Central School. Introduce John Sessions, Julianne Egan, and you guys can introduce your teams. Thank you for being here tonight.
Sure, thank you for having us. I'll go first, Julianne, if that's all right. I'd like to introduce the Putney Central School student leadership team representatives who are here. This is not the full team, but some 8th grade representatives. Peyton Brownell. Peyton, you want to like? Juliet Pals, Lauren Shute, and Kaylee Kelly. And then this is our school counselor, Marissa Lazarus, and our school social worker, Susie Gunther Moore, who have both throughout the year done a lot of work with our student leadership team. And I'll just turn it over to the team.
We have a PowerPoint.
There's a slideshow. Paul, do you have access to that?
Julianne, do you introduce your team? Should I? Yeah, introduce my team. Sure.
Absolutely. Sorry.
No, great. So, hi, everybody. So, our student leadership team at Dummerston School is called the Asset Team. And we have 3 members out of the 18 students on that team who are here tonight. This is Banyan Altschuler, Aaron Harrison, and Ava Kennedy, and their advisor, Nicole Thomas, is here as well. So, yes, we have some slides too. It's all on the same slideshow. So, we'll hear from Putney first.
Okay. Start, Jules. Go to the next slide right here, I think.
I should share it with the folks out there in Zoom.
Could you say your name one more time?
My name?
Yeah.
Marissa Lazarus.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll just add that I failed to wear my tie-dye shirt. That's good. I said next year I'm going to tie-dye a white button-up collared shirt.
Do you have a tie-dye shirt?
Yeah, we all do. Every
You
student
just chose
here
not to wear it.
Chose not to wear it tonight. I did wear it a day at There are witnesses. I wore a tie-dye t-shirt.
Going over here.
You have a picture of it.
He is such a great guy.
So these are some things that we've done this year. We did some restorative justice work. Dummerston and Putney leadership teams collaborated in a workshop with John Ungerleider and Lauren MacArthur from the Greater Falls Community Justice Center. We learned to understand the difference between an open-ended and closed question, the former being more effective in restorative work. We plan to incorporate a peer mediation/restorative model to solve minor conflicts.
We also made school-wide expectations for the playground and cafeteria. So we leadership students created a playground expectations video and this lunchroom expectations video to demonstrate the rules for both.
Students organized events throughout Kindness Week and included Spirit Week themes daily. And our first ever tie-dye extravaganza. We also, PCS leadership team has been planning our first ever community assembly, which will take place later this week.
We go back and just click that video under school-wide expectations. Okay, and this will be we just wanted you to see our lunchroom video.
Remember, you guys, straight lines, please.
All right.
Thank you.
When you're done with your food, you can raise your hand and an adult will dismiss you to clear your trash.
All ready to go? Yeah. Right. No. Okay.
Any unused fruit or food packets, cheese sticks will be used to be saved again.
And any trash. You go in the trash can. Okay, pour your milk in the container carefully. Put your cups into the next container. Scrape all of your compost into one of the green buckets. In the slot, and then make sure you put the tray in. Very nice. If there's a tray left over, be kind and clear it first.
Fine. Yeah.
This was our restorative justice training. We collaborated with Dummerston and we learned about running circles and asking them to questions. We're all.
No, no more video.
Our school community came together in our tie-dye t-shirt. That's fun. Our leadership team worked together to help every student tie-dye kind of t-shirt.
We're wearing that. So that's what it is. Okay.
Our school community came together in our tie-dye t-shirts and formed a heart. We showed school spirit and kindness. These are some of the members of our leadership team. And some more pictures from tie-dye day.
And then we also, during kindness week, read to most of the elementary grades about kindness. And this is me and Lauren reading to the kindergartners about how you can fill someone's bucket with kindness.
All right, thank you. That was great. Great, thanks. So the team's going to speak a little bit about some of the projects they have done at Dummerston School. I'll just start out by saying that at Dummerston School, our vision is that every student is a leader, pre-K to 8, much like Putney Central. And so every day, all students have leadership opportunities. So at the beginning of the year, we have a social contract process that all students participate in. Every year, we have a different social contract that the school agrees to, and all students participate in that process. We have all school meetings that are run by students, student-led conference model, the older students mentor younger students. There's crew time where students spend time working on different facilities projects with Mr. Bailey, and we have buddy classrooms. So all those ways are ways for student leadership to happen. And it's not always just older to younger. Often, as these students can tell you, when they hang out with some of their younger peers, there's a lot of learning the other way too. So every student has an opportunity to lead, whether they're 4 or 14. So I'm going to turn it over to Banyan, who's going to talk specifically about kind of one of the culminating leadership opportunities at Dummerston, which is the asset team.
Hi, I'm Banyan. This is Asset. This is Ava and Aaron. So Asset is grades 6 to 8, meet every Friday. In Asset, we talk a lot about how to be a leader and what we can do, like get other people to feel like they belong. We do some fun things like last December we had a Spirit Week, and a couple weeks ago we had a big dodgeball tournament. That was a lot of fun for everybody.
I'm Aaron. At the start of the asset this year, we looked up at the climate data and how people felt at school and how they felt they belonged. This year, after all we did all that stuff, and then we did more stuff. We will look at the climate survey again and see how we can improve and make things better in the school.
Go to the next slide. And then the one after that too.
Okay. For Project Feed the Thousands, we had a goal of raising 486 pounds of food. In the end, we ended up raising over 650. And due to us surpassing the goal, we held a school-wide movie and pajama day. This all really brought our school together in many ways. First, because of the shared goal and the teamwork it required, and second, because of the shared reward we got in return for our efforts.
Last this year, we organized and led an all-school meeting in honor of Black Lives Matter. We have a bulletin board project, and we were reading to younger grades lessons.
As I said earlier, we had a Spirit Week, and in early December, we had a week of where it was just a lot of fun. We did a neon day where you dress up in your favorite neon colors. And we also did a no backpack day. A bunch of people came in with like some bags and coolers and crazy stuff. It was very fun. And it was just another way for people to look forward to the next day. Like, hey, what should I wear today? Or what should I bring to school today? We also did a dodgeball tournament like 3 weeks ago. Some people had some concerns from like past memories of dodgeball. But after the experience, everyone was like, when can we do this again? We should do this again this year. It was a lot of fun. And it worked out really great, actually. Just feeling it.
Yeah. So for the next several weeks, ASSET is lucky enough to be partnering with Nagina Azimi, who is a mural artist and came to Vermont as a refugee from Afghanistan. We got connected with her through John Overlighter in the Greater Falls Community Justice Center, so he's going to be working with us too. And our team is working with Nagina to collaboratively design a mural with the theme of justice. And then we're going to be talking with the school community about where this mural should go and really involving the whole school in the creation of this mural project.
Yeah, there's just some pictures. That's Feed the Thousands, Black Lives Matter board that the asset team worked on. That's sharing stories that were on the reading that we really wanted to share as part of Black Lives Matter with the younger students. And so asset team members went into classrooms to do that reading and discussion. Spirit Week, green out day. And that's the end of one of the matches of dodgeball. Highly competitive. I didn't make it to the first round, but the gray team wants a rematch. Yeah. Great.
Thank you for coming and presenting to us, and thank you for putting this together, and most importantly, thank you for sticking it out while we were downstairs. So I hope you all enjoyed doing this, and it was certainly enjoyable to see all of it. And I really enjoyed hearing about the things like the cooler and that sort of stuff. Thank you.
If the board recalls the meeting, I think it was last June in the BUHS multipurpose where we had the downpour and you couldn't hear anything. Yeah. And the individual presenting was Cassandra Holloway, who has been helpful in sort of running some pieces of this middle school leadership project you sort of heard the overview there. This is the, sort of you're seeing some of the examples of that work that's happening.
Well, to keep the student theme going, I guess, Lana?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for this presentation. It was amazing. And I was lucky enough to be at the Putney Central School on the last day of Kindness Week. And so I got to see all the kids outside dancing, and it was just, it made my weekend. So thank you guys. You're doing great work.
Well, we will carry the student theme forward for 5 to 10 minutes of student matters, and then we are going to jump to our next executive session. So is there, most of our students have left, but I see there's some in the corner. And then, my goodness.
Yes, we do.
I don't usually see them over there.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
So I usually see you over here. So as any thing that you'd like to sort of share with the board, or questions, concerns?
This isn't a student matter.
It is.
It is student matters.
You go.
Okay. Quick thing, I was just gonna, I know that this meeting is pretty big. So I was hoping that at the next meeting, I was gonna ask that we could have a discussion and kind of an update as to what the discussions are among the board around the turf field on Natowich. And I would also like to just bring up the fact that there is a bill in the Vermont State Legislature right now that's very relevant to this, S25, which bans the use of PFAs, which are very harmful and long-lasting chemicals that are often found in turf fields. And so this is being talked about on the state level too, and I just want to bring that up. But that doesn't rule out the option of turf, because there are natural alternatives. So just wanted to bring that up and ask that be on the agenda next time. And I'm sure I can email someone if I need to follow up with that. And thank you guys.
Thank you,
Django.
Thank you.
I had actually seen that there was something going on with the legislature. Any other students who have any other thoughts or?
Just some good news. The upcoming Diversity Day, May 5th, Aware is going to be collaborating with another group from East Hampton High School in Massachusetts, and we're gonna be working with them to create a presentation, and they're gonna come and visit us and see us.
Awesome.
Sweet, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone online students online who would like to share anything with the board or questions, concerns? And I'm going to ask one more time before we move along. Okay, thank you very much. We have about 5 minutes before we need to jump to the next executive session. So maybe we can quickly get through the approval of the minutes and the finances. Unless, Sean, did you want to do the fiscal before those?
Yeah, if we can do it in 5. Basically, the finance committee met and we made a motion, which I have here somewhere. And it was to approve $185,000 for the heat pump at Gold Grove. And it's part of the capital plan. And it's very important that we have board approval so that we can move ahead with that project, which is on the capital plan for some time. So my motion is that the WSESD board approve $185,000 for the heat pump project at Oak Grove.
Could I add a friendly?
Yes, please.
It would just be as local matching funds to a Department of Energy grant application.
Oh, yes, on that.
Who seconded that?
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, so there's been a motion made and there's been a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. That was very fast. Did you have anything else for the fiscal report?
If I probably got another 30 seconds on that.
Well, we have another like 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
way more than I need.
Okay.
So just to elaborate a little bit more, because we do hope to be successful in this grant application, but this is to address the kind of the complete retrofit of the Oak Grove School. It would be abating the PCB materials that have been identified. It would be a substantial upgrade to many of the thermal properties of the building, which is all the windows that have been identified in this report, roofing insulation, and then, as Sean mentioned, the core of the mechanical is a new heat pump that would pull out the old oil-fired system and replace it with a air-to-air heat pump system. So it's moving us very much along the line of a net zero building. This is in the application stage. So it's to be determined if the Department of Energy will award us the grant. But this is all part of our application process. We did receive, I requested a grant from the Public Service Department of Vermont, $250,000, and that was awarded. So this grant leverages that resource to go much further than what we could have done otherwise. So a little bit of background we'll hear in May, and then I'll be updating the board on next steps, which is likely to require a pre-qualification process.
Yeah, one more item is that Frank mentioned that we should have the capital plan, perhaps on the next agenda, just to review the information that needs to be reviewed on the capital plan. I guess I would say if the capital plan projects are approved at the full board level, then that means that Frank doesn't have any things that's slowing down going forward with already ongoing capital plan projects.
Right. Okay, so we have 1 more minute. I'm going to try to get through these approval of the minutes and the finances.
I've got several amendments
To the minute.
to the minutes, yeah, because we're approving minutes, March 20th and March 28th.
Warrants and payrolls.
Both of them.
Okay, so we're going to try to get through the warrants and the payrolls. Is there a motion to approve the warrants of March 13, 2023 in the amount of $161,581.39, March 20, 2023 in the amount of $513,718.10, March 27, 2023 in the amount of $1,305,408.30, April 3, 2023 in the amount of $128,376.12, and the payrolls of March 10, 2023 in the amount of $1,413,224.39, and March 24, 2023 in the amount of $1,557,864.38. Is there a motion?
So
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second? Thank you, Kim. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the warrants and payrolls as described, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, those are. So then, is there a motion to go into executive session? I'm sorry, I apologize. Is there a motion to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at substantial disadvantage? Thank you, Robin. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. All those in favor of that finding, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so is there a motion to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313A1F confidential attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the body and inviting in Liz Adams, Michelle Lutchen Green, Emily Murphy Carr, Mark Spino, attorney Sean Toohey, and John Kleisch. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Deborah. Is there a second?
Second, though, I believe from our last meeting, didn't we don't have to second anymore, but
That's
second.
right.
You are right, and my apologies. I'm just being overly cautious, but thank you for that, offering that. All those in favor of going into executive session as indicated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so we are in executive session at 7:22. And there will be no action taken after that, but we will try to be as timely as possible so we can get through the rest of the meeting. Okay.
All right.
So are we back? Okay, so we are back from executive session, and my apologies to everyone, but I have been asked for a 5-minute break. So I am going to 8:17, and that means 8:23. We will start up very promptly. Our break is now over. We are back in business. So we are on to the public comment on non-agenda items, 10 minutes. Anyone making a comment can expect a response that falls into one of the following categories. Receive an acknowledgement of the comment with no further action planned. Receive an immediate response by the board chair or administration. Administration would be directed to contact and respond to the person. Clarification sought from the administration for a specified meeting. The topic would be added to a specified future board agenda. The matter would be referred to an executive session. A public hearing would be held on the matter. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment during public comment on non-agenda items? I'm going to ask a second time. Public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, I'm going to ask a third and final time. Public comment on non-agenda items. Okay, we are moving past unfinished business, sexual abuse investigation update. I can say that the board has, thank you very much to Ruby for initiating and sending out the doodle poll. We're trying to arrange a time to meet with the attorney to discuss moving forward. And so many board members have put their availability in already. And so that's where that stands. If you have any further. Okay, thank you very much. So we will move on to policy and amendment committee. Policies to be presented to the SD board. I believe I'm going to hand it over to Deborah. You did make a comment earlier at the beginning of the meeting that there was something to do with one of those policies.
Yes, thank you. F35, school animal policy, is on the agenda for readoption. However, it is now on hold until April 25th at the next board meeting due to, and I'm reading, typographical errors. The policy will not be presented for adoption at tonight's meeting. It has to be posted at all of the town offices for 10 days. So the corrected version is now at the town offices. The second policy on the agenda tonight is D17, policy on non-discriminatory mascots and school branding. And the policy committee is presenting that for adoption. And as I've said before, this is a statute. It exists. And so would like to get it on our books officially as adopted. So I move that the board adopt D17, policy on non-discriminatory mascots and school branding.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. And thank you, Sean. So is there any discussion?
A question.
Sure.
Deborah just mentioned that it was statute, and could you elaborate?
It was passed by the Vermont legislature July or August, and it has been mandatory throughout the state since January 1st, 2023. This is as per, in terms of it being mandatory through the state, as per the Agency on Education. Whether or not we officially adopt this policy, we are held accountable to the policy because it is state statute. But it has been recommended that we formally adopt the policy in this district.
Okay. So the motion has been made and there's been a second. All those in favor of adopting the policy, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? I will take this opportunity to say that there was a complaint filed with the board from the Rutland NAACP. It was shortly before the election, and there was based on how much time the board would have to issue a decision based on the complaint. It would have been if we'd held the meeting and they had presented their complaint, it would have been a new board who was issuing the decision. So I had indicated that it would come to the new board, and they didn't object to it. But what I did get from them was they declined the invitation to bring their complaint to the board, and they indicated that they would be addressing it on the state level. So just to make inform on that right there. So, okay, so we will move on to board matters training.
Sorry, can I just ask a question for a moment?
Sure.
Are we going to consider the nature of the complaint anyway, even though they're not presenting to us about it?
Well, the process is they would come to us. No, so we don't need to. The process is we would consider it if they came and presented it to the board.
But I mean, do we want to look into what they were complaining about of our own?
Well, it's there. I mean, I believe that it's been, all the board members have, and I can make sure that everyone has it.
Their complaint was about whether or not the team name was aligned with this policy. So I'm just wondering if we want to look into that and see if we feel like it violates the policy, even if the people who originally brought this to our attention aren't interested in coming to a meeting about it.
So my understanding is that the Rutland NAACP is taking this up with the state legislature. That's my understanding. However, that is not an answer to your question. Because it is an issue. Do we, as the district, want to consider whether we are in compliance with this policy or not? Mm-hmm. So that would be something that we need to make a decision. The policy committee cannot make that decision. The policy committee presents the policy, and I have limited discussion at policy meetings to just the policy itself, not what the board intends to do with the policy. So I think it's a fair question for what we want to do as a board.
We can certainly I can make sure that everyone has it, and we can certainly put it on for another board, on another board agenda. I think we would need to allow for the administration to have some, obviously to have the appropriate input, because
I didn't mean we should talk about it immediately. I just meant.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
but I think I'm not sure what exactly the format that would be, so I guess maybe should talk to Mark and see if we can figure out what that would entail.
Yep.
So, okay, but I'll make sure that everybody has the three newer board members may not have received it, so I'll make sure that.
Well,
that goes.
wait a minute. So could I just say?
You did receive it?
Yes, and D17 is listed on the website.
Looks like Ruby has a question.
Ruby and Lana have answered.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess the question I have, which I think is relevant here, is that, and this may be directed at Deborah, but the question essentially is, so if we pass this, if this is new policy, then it's put into place, and our expectation is that our district will follow it. And my understanding would be we would expect our superintendent to put into action and make sure that what it says is happening and we're in compliance. So I'm just wondering, what do we think of as a time frame, an appropriate time frame for us to ask the superintendent to reflect back to us that interpretation? That seems like the best next step. And whether we want it a short window or a long window, whatever it needs to be, I think that would be where we would want to land personally.
Mm-hmm. And to go off of what Ruby and Robin just said, I just want to point out that the mascot and the name have been an issue and a point of contention in this community since I moved here, and I think in about 2003 and 2004. So I think that it's high time that something is done, and I would appreciate it if we would expedite that process instead of dragging our heels on it. It's been long enough.
So maybe Mark and I can kind of try and figure out what maybe you would have some idea after looking at the policy and trying to figure out how we can move forward on that.
I know an initial idea that I have been thinking about is just creating an opportunity to just educate ourselves on the history of that mascot and that name. And I think that'll help us in terms of moving forward with next steps. But tapping into we have a teacher who's very steep in the history of the town who would be willing to present at our next board meeting to kind of get the ball rolling in terms of a full education as a starting point, and then leading to next steps towards potential change.
I think I also just want to point out that our town is named after someone who owned slaves. So as we think about these things, I think I really want us to think deeply about the history and how the land that we live on and the complications that arise because of that. And so when we're talking about the history, I want to make sure that we're making that very, very clear.
Yep, absolutely.
Just as,
Sean.
Just as some background, I was a member of the District 6 board when the mascot, which was a depiction of a Southern colonel, and that was, the board voted not to use that mascot icon anymore. It's the same icon that the University of Mississippi used, and then they got rid of it also. So, I have a whole folder at home, if I can find it, that gives quite a bit of history on what happened in the District 6 level. We had many meetings, tons of public participation, testimonies. So I'll see if I can pull that.
Maybe if we can have the teacher, maybe you can be prepared to provide a little information about the structurally board level, school, kind of localish level, what's happened as far as the responses to that.
I think it's
Okay, thank you, Sean.
It's time.
Okay. So, the board,
Can I speak on this or?
sure, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up.
Hi, I'm Mindy Haskins Rogers. I'm a BUHS alum. I just want to point out that a very clear and pertinent history is that many people have expressed how harmful this is, how harmful they find this mascot and the name. And I think we really need to listen to that at this point. I just want to say, as an alum, the mascot never made any sense to me. It didn't seem to represent anything about who the kids were. It's clearly linked with this Southern racist imagery. And I have even seen recently a petition asking for the name to be removed. And I was very pleased when I saw this policy and that it allows for that to be reconsidered. Personally, as an alum, I haven't even attended, I've never attended an alumni gathering for my class because I think it's shameful that they still display the old mascot. And I just hope that you'll move forward in considering this. I think there have been enough complaints lodged that it seems pertinent to consider it under this new statute. I really hope the board will take this up again because I would like for my hometown to take good action on this and to choose a mascot and a name that reflects who the kids and the population are and that doesn't further this harm. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure that we will have lively discussion at the next board meeting and more than likely future board meetings on this topic. Thank you.
Could I also just say that I've even read that Brattle was never even a colonel. There wasn't any clear relation to the history of the town. And if he was clearly linked with slaveholding.
So if no, okay, I don't want to. So board matters training. So orientation is still being worked on. The dual poll that I mentioned just a few minutes ago is also an effort to get dates for that as well. And I don't know if anyone has anything more on that topic or no? Okay, so we can move on. We've done the fiscal report. New business, we have hires and resignations.
Okay, start with a list of new hires. I'm just going to read the full list here. Chris Johansson, Green Street counselor. Molly Murray, Green Street first grade teacher. Timothy Kelser, BUHS art. Abigail Bolin, a one-year social studies position at BUHS. Sarah Kovac, English, BUHS. Mary Linney, BUHS librarian. Nancy Awad.
Nicole.
What's that?
Nicole Awad.
Nicole Awad, sorry. WRCC. Cabrina Howard, Green Street School, first grade. Jacob Smith, BUHS, academic support teacher in science. And Molly Stoner, Putney Central School, academic support teacher.
And so those are all hires, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the hires as indicated by Mark? Thank you, Robin. Is there a second? Thank you, Kim. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Yes. So I have a question. I so much appreciate the synopsis of the qualifications as well as how many people applied for a position. Sarah Kovac, and it's not a question about Sarah Kovac, it's a question about what was written. And it's the second sentence of her description. And it says, this is a new position, which was approved at the annual meeting in March. So I have a question about that. I don't remember a new position coming before the board. and not at the annual district meeting as well.
I think she meant it's in the budget that we approved at that meeting. The new position is in the budget that we approved.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Annual meeting says to me, oh, and also new position says, oh, gee, I didn't see a description. Okay, thank you very much. That takes care of that one.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the hires, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, thank you.
We have two resignations. Jen Torville, who's currently the preschool teacher at Oak Grove, will be moving to early childhood. And Leanne Suksa, a Guilford social worker, is requesting a one-year leave.
Is there?
Oh, so Leah is as a resignation because she took the other one. Okay, and Molly Stoner with a resignation.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resignations as Mark has outlined them?
So moved with regret.
Thank you, Anne. Is there a second?
No need.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get past that not needing a second thing. All those, is there any discussion?
This isn't discussion, but would you please send me those names with the spelling and everything?
Yep.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. All those in favor of accepting with regret the resignations as indicated by Mark, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. So we have two more things. Deborah had a motion or a.
Yeah, it's a motion that I sent to everyone. The wording is a little different. I realize I made a mistake. And the motion reads as follows. The members of the Windham Southeast School District express heartfelt sympathy to the family of Leah Rosen Pritchard for their loss. The board extends condolences to everyone who works tirelessly on behalf of so many in our district, to everyone in our community who is devastated by this tragedy. Thank you to Groundworks Collaborative. We are with you in spirit. WSESD School Board.
Okay, so Deborah has made a motion for the board to issue the statement as she has read. Is there I am slowly getting there. Okay, so we don't need a second. So is there any discussion?
I just wanted to add in the discussion that I wanted to acknowledge another tragic loss in our community that happened a few days earlier, as well as the terrible loss of Leah, that there was a young man murdered on Burge Street, Tamiko Williams, and we don't know very much about him from anything that's been in the press so far, but he was very young, and it's just a tremendous tragedy when any youth dies in our community. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Robin. Is there any other discussion? Okay.
Just I want to thank you, Deborah, for the motion.
Okay, so with no further discussion, all those in favor of issuing the statement as Deborah has read, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay.
Can I just say that I am also on the SU, and I'm going to propose the same motion on the SU tomorrow night. I really do think that the school boards should respond to this kind of tragedy as quickly as possible. And this event occurred on April 3rd. In an ideal world, if we were not so constrained by motions and boards and whatnot, it would be nice if there could be a combined statement from both boards, the directors of the WSESD and the directors of the WSESU. But I'm not willing to go to the SU tomorrow night and then come back to the SD on April 25th. That just feels so unwieldy. And so in researching, I don't think there's a way that I can ask this board to, on contingency, accept what the SU says tomorrow night, so that we could put out a combined statement.
I feel like everyone here would be willing to add their name to that statement if the other board approves.
4/5 of that board is here.
Well, we
Carrie.
can't function as an SU.
No, I know, but.
Yeah. But, oh, okay.
Carrie, would you like to speak? Carrie?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so I will be voting in favor of this tomorrow night. How do we do it so we can do it tonight?
I think.
So here's another motion. I have a follow-up motion with this in mind. I don't know if this works or not. The directors of the Windham Southeast Supervisory Union and the directors of the Windham Southeast School District express heartfelt sympathy to the family of Leah, Roz, and Pritchard for their loss. The boards extend condolences to everyone who works tirelessly on behalf of so many in our district, to everyone in our community who is devastated by this tragedy. Thank you to Groundworks Collaborative. We are with you in spirit. The WSESU board, the WSESD board.
So
We just take a vote on that pending Carrie's official approval tomorrow.
So then is that another motion? It's weird.
You just made a motion, didn't you?
I read the second motion. I did.
Procedure.
okay, so we've approved making the statement as on behalf of this board. It sounds like you are asking the board to approve making a combined statement with the WSESU board if the WSESU board approves such statement tomorrow evening.
That's correct.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, I will ask if all those in favor of the second motion would please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so anticipating that this will go to the SU board and that they will approve it, then that will go out under both the board's names. And if that board for some reason does not approve it, then it would go out under our name.
Under the first
Okay.
motion. Yes.
Okay. So now we are at the last.
There
Yes.
is one thing, we did not approve the minutes. We
Minutes.
skipped that.
So we go back to the approval of the minutes of March 28, 2023. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you, Anne. I'm not asking for a second.
I have one amendment to the minutes. I would like the attendance to reflect that Kate Margitis was present with the administrators at that meeting.
And I also have an amendment to those minutes. My amendment is on page 2. The motion to elect Tim as the Brattleboro representative to the WSESU board. And the way it's listed right now, the vote is 5-5. And actually the vote is 5-4. I was the board member who asked for a recount because what I noticed in the space, I noticed 4 hands. And that's what was initially counted. But then there were board members online, virtual, and their vote was not counted. So, and my understanding is the chair did not vote. We had not yet voted as a board to follow Robert's rules for small boards. So my assumption is we were doing what we have been doing all along and what the fallback position is, which is for large boards, and therefore the board chair is not allowed to vote at that time. So that should be changed to 5-4.
That actually had been brought to my attention, and I will say that my practice last year and my expectation going forward was that I would not vote unless it was to break a tie. Right. It seems more appropriate for me to not to not vote, to, allow the board members. And so my thinking at that point, which I remember being feeling like a terrible math student by not noticing that there were 5 and, instead of 4. And so I was a little caught off guard. And so then I moved on, and that's my explanation for why we had moved on and there wasn't the subsequent vote.
So either way, it's not a tie vote.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
In the minutes.
5-4 is the correct vote,
Yes.
and that's what you want to put in the minutes, right?
Ruby.
I guess I want to just draw our attention to the fact that in the minutes that you're discussing at this time, we postponed the approval of the minutes of the prior meeting.
We have it right here. Yeah. Mhm.
So I'm wondering, are we considering both of those minutes at this time? Because I don't really want to, I feel like my recollection was, Tim, that you had edits to that minute, the minutes of that meeting. And I'm concerned, that we're moving so far into the future that we're going to be forgetting things, but also it's a lot of editing at the end of a long night that we're not done with by far. So
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's just.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ruby. So those were not warned. So we can't address those.
We can't address March 20th.
I don't think
It wasn't on the agenda.
It wasn't on the agenda. So would you mind, just by way of kind of reminder so we don't lose track of it, would you send me or Mo at the SU office just an email, and I will make note of it as well, but just
I mean, I would actually, and I don't know if this needs to be a motion, but I would move that we postpone consideration of these minutes until we've considered the March 20th ones, in my opinion. But
we just approved them.
We voted yes.
We didn't approve the 20th.
I don't think we need to delay approving these because of the issue with the other minutes. I think we can approve these and consider those ones at the next meeting.
In addition, my notes about the March 20th, the language that was used was that they were deferred until the next meeting. I remember Tim was on vacation, he was virtual, and the whole discussion came up about whether it should be tabled or deferred. And the language that was selected was deferred. Yeah. So does that mean that it still has to be warned on today's agenda, or can we address the minutes of the 20th?
This is right out of my experience.
I got
really
it.
came
Okay.
into that.
All right. Okay.
What I've known is that it's not on the agenda, we can't.
Got it.
that's
So
what
there.
So I mean, just to be safe.
So we're not voting on March 20th.
We're not voting on March 20th.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I
Sorry.
make one statement about protocol? According to Roberts, when an amendment is made to the minutes, that amendment applies to the meeting in which the error occurred. We haven't been doing that. So somebody has to go back and amend the previous minutes that an amendment was made for.
I will do that.
I'm glad that's clear to you.
Okay. So let's see, Robin had an amendment in regards to attendance. And Deborah had an amendment in regards to the figures for electing Tim.
I think technically we're probably supposed to vote on each amendment.
That's
and
what
then
that's
vote on
what I was
approving the whole
thinking of.
amendment.
So
it'll take 3 votes.
So Robin has essentially made a motion to amend the minutes to include Kate Margaitis in the attendance
This is for what minutes?
for the 28th.
Oh, the 28th. Okay.
So is there any further discussion on that amendment?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
adding
there's-
Kate Margaitis?
No, sorry.
Okay, let's vote on that before we talk about anything else, okay?
So all those in favor of adding Kate Margaitis to the attendance from the March 28, 2023 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, thank you. So now there is essentially a motion to amend the minutes to reflect that it was a 5-4 vote.
For Tim going onto the SU.
Is there any discussion? Okay, so all those in favor of that amendment to the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so now we are back to the original motion to approve the minutes of March 28, 2023 with the 2 amendments that have been made.
I have one more. Sorry.
Okay, so now Tim has a motion to amend the minutes.
And Kelly, I have a typographic, or I have a motion also, I think.
Okay, thank you, Ruby. Okay, Tim, what is your,
My motion is to remove my statement made on page 7, where I made and withdrew a motion. According to Roberts, when a motion is withdrawn, it's not reflected in the minutes. So on page 7, my motion is to delete the notation that I made a motion.
okay, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of Tim's motion to remove his statement indicating a motion
That was
which
withdrawn.
was withdrawn from the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. And Ruby?
Under the committee assignments, it's just a typographical error in the Programmatic and Performance Equity Committee. At the end, it just says that Kim Price joined. It's Ruby McAdoo and Kim Price joined. So it should be KP and RMA joined. The addition and RMA.
So Ruby is indicating that the committee assignments for the PEPEC, it should have indicated KP for Kim Price and RMA for Ruby McAdoo. Is there any discussion? Okay, everyone in favor of that amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so now we were back to the original motion to approve the minutes of March 28, 2023.
I don't know if there was a motion yet on that, but I will make one and move that we approve these minutes as amended.
Well, I think Anne made the motion.
Oh, did you?
I have your name, here, so.
I did. I was ahead. Then we did all the amendments.
Okay, I'll leave it with your original motion then. Sorry, I missed writing that down. I was so excited to make my amendment.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving the minutes of March 28, 2023 with all those amendments included, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, we have approved the minutes of March 28, 2023. Okay, so now, if I'm not mistaken, we have one last thing, which was a very quick executive session that I did mention at the beginning of the meeting. Let's see, so.
Do we have a need for 2 executive sessions?
Nope, just.
Deliberation.
Oh, yes. We have the executive session with that we need to invite Mark into, and then we need to return to the executive session that was suspended from earlier.
Nancy and Stacey are going to join.
Okay, so I will, hold on just a second. So I need, is there a motion to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage? Like, sounds like you're making the motion. Okay, thank you very much, Deborah. And since we don't need a second, I won't ask for that. Okay, all those in favor of going into executive session under, let's see. Let me look for my, it's a contracts. Anne, can you state the contracts?
I had 16 VSA 313, but then I need to get the rest of it.
For contracts?
For contracts, yeah.
1A. I'm not in the right one.
The one at the bottom of the agenda, that's about attorney client privileges.
Looking at. No, Mark had asked about another.
Okay. 1 VSA 313 1A. If it's contracts.
Okay, yes, it is. So is there a motion to go on into executive session under 1 VSA 313A 1A contracts?
So moved.
Thank you very much, Lana. All those in favor of going into executive session as indicated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstention? Oh, with the understanding that we are inviting Mark and,
See Frank and Stacey.
okay, with all those people. Okay, so we are in executive session at 9:03. So we rose from executive session at 10:49. And it appears that the board is going to reschedule this executive session.
Suspend, is that the wording we want?
Thank you, Robin. Suspend this executive session to
Reconvene at a future date.
just what Robin said. And while I'm at it, the executive session that we suspended from earlier, we are also continuing to suspend that until future time. So I think that is everything that we had. So, and vote.
I don't think so. I feel like in the previous times when we did this, there wasn't any voting.
Well, you know what, we can just be safe, we will be safe and. Is there a motion to suspend the executive session that we were just in? To suspend it to a later time period.
So
Thank you, Tim. Not asking for a second. All those in favor of suspending that executive session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
Okay.
Oh, so now we have to do a straw poll, okay. I mean, not a straw poll, we have to do a. All those in favor of suspending that executive session, please raise your hand.
Okay, Sean, Anne, me, and who's voting online?
Ruby and Lana and Beth.
Okay, so all those opposed to suspending the executive session, please raise your hand. So we have suspended that executive session. So is there a motion to suspend the executive, continue the suspension from the executive session earlier this evening to a later time period? Thank you, Sean. All those in favor of suspending that executive session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so that is as well.
And
I
we'll-
think,
We'll be meeting at 6 next week, the same time.
well, I'll send out an email just to confirm.
Okay.
Madam Chair, there being no further business before this board, I move that we adjourn.
All those
Bye,
in
guys.
favor of adjourning at 10:53, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, thank you.